Hello trophy hunters, welcome back to the second and final part of my spookiest platinums for this year. Like any good horror film, there are rules. In the first video, we established spooky means sinister and ghostly, that causes fear and unease. These platinums must embody these feelings more so than the previous 5. So let's get heads rolling with the first entry being I've always been a Metroid more than a Vania kind of guy, but these two franchises that coined the ever popular genre walk tall and side by side. I was so glad to revisit this classic from the PS1 era. The collection contains 2 Castlevanias, which you'll need to 100% both to obtain the platinum. Whilst Rondo of Blood is fantastic, we're all here to talk about Symphony of the Night, as I feel that one embodies spookiness a lot more. Apart from being iconic and timeless, it's a perfect game to play at Halloween. Set in a gothic castle filled with dark, eerie and haunting environments that are teeming with a variety of classic monsters. You'll fight zombies, mummies, werewolves, death himself, and of course, a vampire or two. The soundtrack is hauntingly beautiful. Many tracks create a sense of foreboding and unease, that or they're just absolute bangers. Overall, it's a classic video game that embodies many elements associated with Halloween. Its dark, gothic, monster-filled world and engaging gameplay have cemented it to be one of the greatest, spookiest video games of all time. Play it and platinum it.
Dracula, die now and leave this world. You'll never belong here!
This year started off strong with the Dead Space remake, which was one of my earlier videos, and although amazing to revisit the Ishimura and current gen graphics, I think Dead Space 2 got to me more as a spooky platinum. It was a true sequel, uncharted territory for Isaac after he escapes the horrors of the first game. Now kept to some kind of government experiment on board a space station, several years later, he helps create man-made markers. His character growth in this game is amazing. No longer a voiceless protagonist, his traumatic and tragic experience fuel his resolve to stop the markers he has helped create. Dead Space 2 starts off as absolute chaos. I'll never forget this poor bloke's introduction, only to be dispatched in a horrific and gruesome manner. It's a very intense opening. Things do slow down after that with several combat encounters amping up the pace as you go, as you're introduced to new weapons and enemy types. I really like the guys who puke acid who were brand new for this game. One of the most memorable segments to me is the chapel level. You're introduced to these raptor-type necromorphs. Someone watched Jurassic Park and rightly thought this would make a really good necromorph. They eerily peek around corners with an almost curiosity towards you. They chirp and they peek and they go back again. It's very creepy. Then they scream and run directly at you from all directions, normally cutting you in half. Every section with these guys is terrifying and difficult. They really stand out amongst already excellent creature design. I'm very proud of this platinum. It's certainly one I found difficult and left for a long time, and this was mostly due to one trophy, quite infamous amongst trophy hunters, hard to the core. Hardcore difficulty is no joke. You must start from a new save file, so no new game plus goodies to ease the playthrough. The real challenge though is you only have 3 saves for the whole game. You need to plan risk against reward, which in this playthrough is progress. That's the reward. There are different recommended places to save, more so than others, but it really comes down to what you're comfortable with. You could save somewhere super safe before a hard segment, but if you got past that hard segment without saving, then, you've earned more progress. I remember my 3rd save is best done before the eye surgery cutscene. Failing this quick time is instant death, and I did not trust myself to succeed it. Getting through hardcore requires patience and knowledge. You need to be slow and methodical to be sure of every enemy placement. I left this trophy for many years at a time. I tried several times, but eventually I got good enough to achieve it. The fear of death and the threat of lost progress made this platinum really spooky as hell. Its difficulty and the time it took me to achieve it make it one of my proudest platinums.
What we did to you.
Welcome to the dark and grim world of Bloodborne, filled with nightmarish creatures, scary architecture, and a constant feeling of dread. This atmosphere, coupled with the white-knuckle gameplay, gut punches you every encounter, and always keeps you on your toes in between fights. Ambushes are commonplace, and it's rare to ever feel safe. It's a game that delves into both Lovecraftian and body horror, with enemies often taking inspiration from one or the other, and sometimes a healthy mix of both. Designs are disturbing and often terrifying, and that's before they even start attacking or screaming at you. Obviously, it has challenging gameplay, but this just complements everything about the game. It's thrilling and intense, knowing you're probably one escapable grab away from death. It being more offense orientated than Dark Souls becomes crystal clear very quickly. The platinum may not be for everyone, but anyone used to the ebb and flow of Dark Souls should be fine. It's worth jumping in just to experience it. If spooky means unease and fear, you'll just need to hear the cleric beast's blood-curdling cry as you're exploring an early section of Yharnam. Yep, that'll do it. Then actually fighting it, it's such a great introduction for what this game is all about. And that theme just lives rent-free in my head. And don't get me started on Father Gascoigne. These bosses are memorable and tough as hell, but it's the cosmic horror elements that do it for me. Isn't it wonderful when humanity is faced with the insignificance of its own existence? Okay mate, I'm gonna reel that in a bit. It's a fantastic platinum, with the only grind being the repeatable Chalice dungeons. But even then, I appreciate them more than not. Once you're done with the main game, you can jump right into the Old Hunters DLC for even more terrifying trophies. Of course, Resident Evil had to be here somewhere. It's one of the most iconic franchises in the survival horror genre. Inducing fear, suspense, and panic comes naturally to this game. The monsters are terrifying, grotesque, and the setting is dark and spooky. The Spencer Mansion, along with the static camera angles, make exploring this environment intense, which perfectly complements the sound design. Groans and shuffles, rain hitting the windows, eerie winds. It's gotta be considered perfect. Even opening a door is scary. You're always thinking, what the hell could be inside this room or around this corner? And the answer is usually something that wants to eat you. Zombies, dogs. You have a phobia of spiders, this game will mess you up. Add in a giant snake. Oh, and cool, let's throw in some sharks as well. The addition of Crimson Heads is a highlight of the remake. Zombies that evolved if you don't decapitate or burn their bodies after killing them. They rise once again, faster and more deadly than ever. Nothing beats that first playthrough where everything is unknown, resource management is tight, ammo is low, health is limited. But once the dust is settled and the credits have rolled, there are many challenge runs to do, each awarding a shiny trophy. I'm just going to list a few. Complete the game using Chris and Jill on 4 different difficulties in under 3 and 5 hours. Finish the game only using your knife, finish the game without healing, saving, using the item box, without rescuing anyone, that one's a bit mean. And of course, finish the game in invisible enemy mode.
Well. That ain't the invisible
That's right, invisible sharks. Jesus, I hate that bit. You can take your time and dedicate a playthrough to each challenge run trophy, but they all do stack. I would say invisible enemies stacked with no healing and knife only probably isn't a good idea, but it could save you time. I just loved how each new run presented a different, unique challenge and changed the game in a way that made it feel new and exciting each time. It is amazing, flawless even. I enjoy even the trophy art and names. I'll leave it with one of the best platinum names I've ever encountered. Platinum Splatinum. Fantastic. In all honesty, what else could be number one for me? Alien Isolation is a survival horror video game released in 2014. Isolation completely redeems the franchise's venture into video games in every aspect. Its atmosphere can be summarized as tense, suspenseful, and claustrophobic. The game flawlessly captures the ambience of the original Alien, with dark, dimly lit environments, eerie sound design, and a constant sense of danger. The player is constantly on edge, facing the terrifying and relentless xenomorph alien. The game's atmosphere creates a feeling of isolation and vulnerability, making it a truly immersive and nerve-wracking experience. The trophies don't make it any less stressful, forcing you to navigate the environments to find collectibles and computer logs. Every second searching for these is another second out in the open, always at risk of being found, either by the surprisingly creepy industry robots, the human survivors, or maybe something a little bit worse. A sense of layered panic is added, as there are trophies awarded for not being detected in certain segments, and then the one that adds the most dread: complete the game without dying. Dying is literally traumatic enough in this game, so potentially voiding a gold trophy makes it even more stressful. Reloading saves or quickly panicking and quitting out of the game before your untimely end is the go-to tactic for this trophy, but you won't truly know until the credits roll. Nothing will beat the first playthrough, which I recommend going into absolutely blind. Absorb the atmosphere, play it in the dark and with headphones on. Think about the trophies for your second playthrough and just enjoy the intended experience. Maybe enjoy is the wrong word. It's been a few years since I got the PS4 one complete, but the game has stuck with me ever since. I'm a lifelong Alien fan. Nothing comes close to capturing the essence of the films than this game. It's so authentic, so loyal to everything that made the original Alien a success. It will always be my spookiest platinum.
I don't know if you can hear me, but I made it across. It's really bad here, Verlaine. I think there's something here.
Phew, I did it, and just in time for Halloween. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and thank you for all the recent subscriptions and especially the kind comments recently. They honestly make my day. I'll be back doing my ultra rare platinums next and some other games I've completed recently. I hope you all have a wonderful Halloween. Play spooky games and watch scary movies. But as always, please take it easy, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.